Jade, are you able to hear me?
Oh, yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, do I come in clear?
Yes, you do. And
right,
we are recording.
Sounds good. All right. Good morning, everyone. This is the Mayor Managers meeting of Wednesday, November 17th. In the room with me is City Clerk Stephanie Carlisle, City Attorney Tamara Niles, City Manager Shawn Lewis, Deputy City Clerk Jade Truscott, and Jade, what's your last name?
Reed.
Reed, that's right. And Mayor Pro Tem Steve Ward. Did I miss anybody? That's everyone, right?
I think that's it.
Yeah, that's everyone.
Tim will be joining a little bit later, Assistant City Manager Tim Dodd.
Sounds great. Perfect. I'll pass it over to you, Shawn.
All right, thank you. So looking at the November 22nd meeting, we've got October monthly financial report, and that already has a time frame assigned of 10 minutes. These are all study sessions. Welcome wheel plan update, 15-minute presentation, about 15-minute discussion. It's what's slotted now. And Steve, you've probably watched these enough to know that you and the mayor decide how much time you want for discussion, and we kind of give you a tentative presentation time, but if you want it shorter, longer, we can adjust that as well. And then the third item is Historic Preservation Ordinance Study Session. So this one is the follow-up to our discussion on whether or not to fast track. So it's not really about the ordinance, it's about whether to fast track the ordinance. And then council liaison discussion. This is where you all will pick your liaisons.
Mhm.
And then that's the end. So we don't have a time frame assigned on discussion for the historic preservation ordinance. Whether to fast track that, it might be lengthy. I don't know.
I think it may be lengthy just because of the new council members, but lengthy to me would be about 30 minutes. I don't expect it to go longer than that, but Mayor Pro Tem Ward.
I would concur with 30 minutes.
All right. And then do you want to assign time frame for the council liaison?
I don't expect it to take too long. I'd say 15 minutes.
Okay.
I think that might actually be a little longer for assigning liaisons.
Okay.
Maybe 20?
I'd give it, 20 or 30. Because we have to discuss which boards are up and who wants to be on them, and there may be some additional discussion. I would give it 20 to 30 minutes. That would be my estimate.
And remind me, Stephanie, do they actually everybody can switch if they want, right?
Right.
Yeah, there are certain ones that the mayor would be bound to, but there could be movement of boards too. So I would agree with Mayor Pro Tem that I think a 30-minute discussion gives us space.
Gotcha. All right, any other questions on the 22nd?
Not for me.
And just so Steve, you know, as well as Nathaniel, now that we're doing it where we're looking at the list in iCompass, Jade makes the changes kind of offline, but she can't, if she kept refreshing every time we made a change to this, then it would get very confusing. So that's right, Jade, how I'm describing that?
Yes, that is correct. And if you guys would like me to, I'm happy to refresh. I am making the notes live in iCompass, but it does get a little confusing and sort of kind of just changes the page a lot, so it's harder to focus. But I'm happy to do whatever you guys would like.
No, I'm good with it as is.
Okay.
All right, looking at December 6th, we have the Inglewood Environmental Foundation, COP redemption and dissolution process discussion. I've already assigned 15-minute presentation, 30-minute discussion, strategic plan revamp and community engagement process. This is going to be to look at the kind of some of the structural changes to the strategic plan that I mentioned on Monday night. That'll be about 25-minute presentation. That might be a little longer than we have to. Let's see. What are we at for this study session? 30, 45, 50.
Almost an hour.
Well, I guess that's about right. So yeah, that's what we have assigned now. We can change that. And then presentation of projects to consider revisions to city charter, 15-minute presentation. Any thoughts on discussion?
I do think that the discussion will center upon the process and whether city council wants to appoint an advisory committee or whether we need to consider a charter commission. So, and then that will then decide the schedule for the project.
Yeah, personally, I think that'll be a fairly lengthy discussion. I don't think there's uniformity of thought over the question of ad hoc committee versus charter committee versus council just assuming control of the process.
Yes, and those are the three options that we will present.
Great. Well, then in that case, why don't we cut down the presentation time on strategic plan to 15 minutes and hit the highlights. Hopefully council will have read that draft beforehand. And yeah.
And I do think the presentation time for the charter project is probably a little long. The presentation is probably going to be 10 minutes or less, but I think it will be the discussion that's longer.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll update that too. And then moving on to the regular agenda, we'll have approve a resolution establishing the annual salary for the city manager, city attorney. That's just we have that on consent because it's the same rate change as the rest of staff, which was budgeted for 2022. It was just across the board, 3.5. And then on the B City USA, we have a resolution to become B City. There was quite a bit of kind of legwork that needed to be done since we talked about this during study session a couple of months ago, but now we're ready to bring that to you. The student art contest, top 13 finalists will be recognized at this meeting. Jade or Stephanie, do you know if they're planning on doing that under recognition special? Or,
Yes, it'll be done under that recognition section of the agenda.
oh, there it is. Thank you. So that'll be at the beginning, not third. This
Correct.
isn't the order anyway, I guess.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay, and then we have the motion to approve renewal of the transit shuttle services contract with MV Transportation and for the trolley. Next is the contract renewal amendment agreement for on-call engineering services with EST. I think this can be consent. I see question mark there. This is a contract we do every year for on-call engineering services. If that's all right with you, Mayor Pro Tem. And then we have Malley Trust Fund social pass expenditure. I have to read up on that one. Oh, I guess it's just the passes that people can buy for membership.
Okay.
And then we have Jason Park Amenity Improvement Construction Contract. So this is finally getting some of the money that you all allocated from unassigned fund balance spent after design has been done. And that probably should not go on consent, I would think.
Right.
Okay. And then sale of Metro Fire Training Center. This is just the bill for the ordinance for that. Is this second reading?
Yep.
Yep, second reading. And that was not unanimous, is that right?
It was.
Yeah, I thought so too. So it can be consent, I think, Jade.
Yep, I will update that.
So one thing we should consider is this is a regular meeting, but we have probably 2 hours slotted just for study session, which, and then we have that big recognition of the artwork. So are we still okay with all of that?
Yeah, I was noticing that as well. I'm almost thinking that we would want to push the one for an hour. What do we have labeled? I almost would prefer to have that one on the 13th.
And I did want to bring that up as well. The 13th is not as heavy as a schedule. However, we did say no study sessions due to the council dinner that was going to take place for the holidays, the holiday council dinner. But if you guys are okay and if the schedule's light enough, I'm happy to move that onto the 13th if that works for everybody.
Which one do you want to move to the 13th?
The hour-long one.
Which is what? I'm sorry.
Sorry, 1 second.
Strategic plan.
Yes.
I know it's
Yeah.
saying 6 is ideal, but
Yeah,
with the city charter, I know we're only talking about process, but I can see a lot coming up from that discussion as well.
And actually, I'm sorry, I'm just remembering this. So that we do bring this item to a vote on the 13th, the strategic plan update. So I'm wondering if it'd be better to move the charter revisions instead.
And for the
Yes.
charter revisions, the 13th was my first choice anyway.
Okay.
Because our consultant is preparing a schedule and I don't know if that will be finished in time for the 6th. So I had requested the 13th, but we didn't think you wanted study session items then, which is why it was on for the 6th.
Yeah, because I don't want to move the EAF discussion.
yeah.
I was preferring the strategic plan just because between the first 2 items, between EAF and the strategic plan, that's like 2 hours.
Well, I don't know that the strategic plan is going to take an hour. I mean,
And-
we've already cut that down to 15-minute presentation. It's really just it's the same strategic plan, just in a different structure with fewer kind of minutia items. But the reason that we're kind of pushing to keep that on the 6th, Nathaniel, is because we've got to do a community engagement process before your January retreat, end of January. And so it's going to compress. We really need to have kind of like you all on the 13th give us a thumbs up on a draft that's more formatted to your liking. And then, but that necessitates a December 6th discussion and study session.
Okay. Well, I'm fine with those first 2 items and moving the charter conversation to the 13th.
Okay.
All right.
Any on that, Shawn? All right, Shawn.
Yeah.
Steve?
Sorry.
Yeah, I think that would be prudent in this case. The one other thing I wanted to point out is I suspect the trolley contract might get pulled from consent. I don't know that for sure, but that's my suspicion.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Well, do you want to go ahead and move it off? And that is an annual contract, so that's why we had it on there.
Yeah, I think that would be prudent. This council might want to have a more robust discussion about the trolley in general, which we could schedule for a study session, but I think that might come up as we're approving this contract for the coming year.
Okay. Any other, is everybody okay putting B City USA on consent?
Where's it at? Yes.
Yes, no problem.
All right, and I think that contract renewal agreement, professional service. Can you scroll down, Jade?
Yes, I can. Sorry.
Okay. Yes.
And what about the renewal for EST, the contract renewal? I would say yes. Yeah, I would say yes to that one on consent, but Steve, I'll let you chime in on that one.
I have no concerns about it personally.
As well as the one right below it, the Valley Trust Fund.
Okay.
And then do you want Jason Park not on consent?
Yeah,
Oh,
just because
we already decided that, yeah.
yeah.
And then Metro Training Center will move to yes. All right. All right, moving on to December 13th. We've got the holiday dinner that would be beforehand. Do you all have a location that you would prefer to have that at?
No, I thought you were going to provide some locations, but
Okay, we can do that. I'll have that during the city manager's report on Monday.
can we make a note to bring that up as a discussion point on this Monday, just in case?
Yep. Can I put that under Mayor's Choice?
How do we normally do that? Do we
Perfect.
just normally decide that without bringing it up to council? I can't even recall how we did it last year, or actually not last year, 2 years ago.
I think y'all discussed it. I think under mayor's choice would be great if that's all right. And then So after that, we have the meeting. We'll move that charter item to the first study session, only study session. And then a resolution for establishing the annual salary for the judge. You want it to be separate from mine and Tamara's. And then we'll have, oops, did I miss one?
Where the screen is not scrolling for me. Where are we?
Well, sorry, I jumped an item. So we have the placeholder at the top of the screen for the holiday dinner. And then the second one is actually City Council Policy Manual discussion. And, oh, so we will have 2 study sessions that night.
And actually, wasn't utilities considering bringing forward a city ditch study item as well?
That's right. We may just have, yeah, a little more lengthy. Well, let me ask you this, Nathaniel and Steve. So, I don't know if I've tried to tell council members in my one-on-ones about the city ditch, a little controversy with historic Littleton that is fighting our desire to pipe the ditch through Littleton. We don't need to pipe it through Inglewood. Inglewood Preservation Society, though, has kind of joined historic Littleton to try to say, we think you should double check that or rethink this. So we really kind of wanted to give council an update on that. Do you want that that update? Peter wanted to do it in December. Thoughts?
Well, I would think if Peter wants to do it in December, I say fine and do it in December, and it sounds like the 13th is really our only open item or open date. If we're planning the 20th as a non-working day.
Right. Is that all right with you, Steve?
Yeah, I get a little heartburn when we have super packed sessions, but I understand December's awkward, so I'll go with it this time.
Right.
Well, the other thing is that we're missing an item from here, Shawn. So.
You mean the charter one?
No, as on the 13th, this is going to be a special meeting. We're bringing back the public consumption discussion for vote.
Yes, that has not been updated, but that is planned for this meeting.
And Tamara, do you want to push the council policy manual to January?
Yes, we can. I'm not really sure what the purpose of this item is.
Yeah.
It's not one that I put on the agenda, but I also could just meet one-on-one with the 2 new council members and go over it rather than
Yes.
present to the entire council, considering our old council adopted the current manual.
Yeah, we had put it in as a placeholder, so I just wanted to bring that one up too, that could potentially change how we do it.
Thoughts on that, Steve or Nathaniel?
I think there's some things in the council policy manual that we could discuss. For instance, as I was recently reading through it, I noticed that council policy still calls for an invocation every session, which hasn't been done for quite some time. So we may want to put that as an agenda item that we can discuss any updates that we might want to the policy manual. I get a little frustrated sometimes when we have policies that we just ignore. So I want to make sure it's current.
That could actually be a long discussion regarding invocation prior to meetings, and that potentially could be one that we should do an executive session for attorney-client privilege, because it is the subject of fairly recent case law.
Sure, and I'm fine with that. I mean, the bottom line is that I want to make sure that our behavior comports with our written policies.
So Steve, are you saying that you would prefer to have kind of an overview of the policy manual, but maybe we could do that in January?
Yes, I don't consider it to be urgent, but I would like to get it done.
Does that work for you, Tamara?
Oh yeah, that works just fine.
I'm gonna tentatively move this guy to January 10th. Do you mind if we just scroll down to January 10th just to see what items are
Sure.
on that? Yeah, so I think that would be a good night for that.
Okay. Great. Well, then we'll look at January 4th.
Real quick, are we really meeting on the 4th or are we meeting on the 3rd? The 4th is a Tuesday. Would we meet on the 3rd?
Well, the problem is that the holiday schedule falls, our New Year's Day holiday falls on a Saturday, I think. And so we have to observe the holiday on the following Monday.
Okay. No, just wanted a clarification on that, so that works.
Okay. I mean, we did discuss, maybe we could just have a meeting on our day off, but it might necessitate some overtime if we have to have other staff. Okay.
If we need to go to that, then Shawn.
Okay.
But people enjoy their New Year's Day, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah, well, all of us exempt ones, it wouldn't matter, but, and then the DLG grant administrator change request. This is a letter that requires signature to replace Kenitha as the grant manager due to Tamara Wolf's retirement. Okay. Not sure. We'll look at that one a little more closely. I don't know that. Huh, okay. And then we have a study session on November monthly financial report. And then some special recognition for the holiday lighting contest winner. It'll be awkward when I'm the top vote getter on holiday lights in Inglewood. Public hearing for planned unit development. That's at 3690 South Jason. And then, oh, that's it. Yeah. So do we have timeframes assigned to any of those study session?
We do need discussion for the DLG grant and
that is.
basically what I know, what Kenitha was talking about is she was just wanting to gather consensus from you guys, that you guys are still in support of this, and then she would just need to obtain the mayor's signature on the letter.
What is the DLG grant? Does anybody know? Okay, we'll mhm.
I unfortunately am not sure what DLG is, but I did help her put in this item, so I can definitely reach out and try to get more clarification if you'd like.
Yeah, and on the description, we can maybe just make those less first person and more just, yeah, kind of more informational on those in the description column. And so looking at January 10th, we have a study session on presentation of city payment of city use tax. Basically, we've been paying ourselves. When we have a capital project, our contractors are being required by code to pay the use tax, and it's our money that they're using to pay the tax. So we're proposing, and Tamara's office has done good work with finance in getting this amended potentially. So right now we have 10-minute presentation about that. Thoughts on discussion time? Nathaniel?
I would say about 15 minutes.
Okay.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Right on.
Good. And then the next study session item is board and commission interviews, discussion. Uh-oh.
Oh, wait. Oh,
Nope.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm sorry. This guy actually needs to get moved to a different date, unfortunately.
Okay, because it needs to be on a night by itself, right?
Board and commissions, yeah. So board and commissions will need to stay on the 10th, and we'll just need to move this guy and the other one to January 4th. Would you be okay with updates to both of those?
Yeah, if we're ready by then.
Okay.
All right. And so on the 10th, it'll only be board and commission interviews. And then on the 8th. Mhm. Okay, and then on the 8th, moving to the 18th, we have an overview of 2022 events, how we're going to inform council, the public, vendors, all of that. We're trying to get all of that lined out before the event seasons, well before this event season starts. And we do not have a discussion time on that, but presentation time would be 10 minutes. Thoughts on discussion? Time frame?
probably 10 minutes as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I might go 20 on that. Just because I think there's some general discussion on on that topic specific to follow through when somebody submits an application or something like that. That may be a little more robust.
Okay. Now, when the two of you say two different things, do we just split the difference and say 15 minutes?
No, actually, but I have a follow-up question for Steve. Like, what do you mean by an application? So we're going to talk more than just what's on that description. So we're not just going to go over what we have planned. We're also going to talk about the process. Is that what we're stating?
That's what I heard Shawn say. Yeah.
Well, I'm just reading that description. It says inform the council of plan dates. Oh, you're right. It didn't say process, but I assume that council may have, I mean, we always assume that you all are going to have feedback on these items, on any item. So maybe 15 minutes discussion.
Yeah, I guess that's fine.
Yeah, I'm fine with 15, but I'm still confused about why we would discuss the process.
Well, Nathaniel, what's come up this year is that there's been a lot of questions about how do we inform people that are affected by the event and the location? How are we getting the word out to vendors? Are local vendors really being invited to participate? So I know the questions that Steve's talking about, he's not the only one who's posed those. So I do think that there probably will be some questions during this discussion, and staff is ready for those. So.
Okay, so if that's the case, then it may go longer than 20 minutes, but yeah.
Maybe well then we'll put 20 minutes on it for sure.
If that could be part of the presentation as well.
Okay.
About what that process looks like and how we're communicating that aspect of it, I like that to be on a separate slide.
Okay. Clerk's office will help us make sure they know that request has been made. And then new board and commission appointments approved by city council. You'll have a resolution on that. And then a motion to approve the EDDA 2022 budget. First reading of planned unit development at 3690 South Jason Street. Preliminary December month, did I switch to the next meeting? Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Are you guys okay if I refresh really quick? We've just made a lot of changes and I want to make sure that you guys are seeing those.
Sure.
Yep, that's good.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, by the way, we're at time, so.
Yes, we are. All right. Do you want to stop there and we'll pick up the rest later?
Well, can we just go over any council requests if there's any?
Yes, we submitted quite a few. Tamara did from the last meeting. I think we've got all of those. Tamara or Tim, do you have those handy? One was on. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I had submitted one for PD to provide crime statistics in the South Broadway public consumption area. The additional 3 blocks because we'd previously only provided it for the duck pond. But that was the only formal council request that I had input.
I entered 2. One was from Mayor Pro Tem Ward about an update on the fire department funding, or funds, I should say, once they've been received. And then from Member Wink on the possibility of developing reserved parking spaces and other programs for veterans.
Yeah, and I know that we decided to do that as a study session too, but we just went ahead and entered that as a council request just to start gathering the information for that study session.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, I think that's all we've got.
There are a couple of things that I'd like to put on the radar going forward that we can schedule at a subsequent meeting. The first is the discussion of public right-of-way and our right-of-way policies. I'd like to put that on a study session. And the second is in regards to how the DDA tax sharing TIF agreement will work, specifically to the allocation of the increment and a percentage of the increment that goes to the DDA or would potentially come back to the city.
And on that one, the council weighed in, but it was the last council, so it's probably worth another ask. We did not have 4 people that asked for that one. And so that one hasn't gotten put on the kind of the future list. So maybe y'all can bring that up during council members' choice.
Yeah, I'd be fine with bringing that up on Monday night.
And then on the other one, Tamara has already got that pretty much ready, the right-of-way stuff. She's been working with Public Works on that one. So I think we're ready to come forward with that one pretty quick, right, Tamara?
I didn't have anything active on my schedule for that. There have been some responses to council requests regarding right-of-way, and then we did just completely overhaul the license agreement to utilize our right-of-way. But yeah, we can certainly draft a presentation on that.
Yeah, I think it would be good to bring that back as a study session item, just so not only the council, but also the public is aware of what changes we've made.
Okay.
Great.
And then I'm so sorry to bring this up and keep you guys a little longer. Would we like to discuss when we would like to do the mayor manager meetings moving forward? Or go ahead and schedule those for the standing time?
Mornings are always better for me, so. And when I do my mornings, like 8:30 a.m. Once it gets done, my meetings just start piling up.
I have a pretty flexible schedule generally. I have to say Monday morning at 8:30 is fairly awkward for me because I generally meet with my boss at 9:30 on Monday mornings.
Morning, Steve?
What's that?
You mean Tuesday mornings or?
Tuesday would be fine. Tuesday's open.
Yep. Yes. And as long as it's not that 8:30 time slot, I think we're fine. But the problem is we've got lots of stuff the morning after council meeting to update the agendas and carry forward. And a lot of time it's not done by 8:30 in the morning because we don't have time to do it. So if we could move it at least back later that morning.
My Tuesday mornings are pretty stacked from 9 to like 11.
What about the afternoon, Otanya?
Afternoons are always hit or miss. I have meetings since I'm in sales. It just depends on the customers. I could possibly do around lunchtime, like noon.
Yeah, I could do noon on Tuesday.
Works for me.
Others?
Me too.
Yep, we'll make that work.
Yep.
All right.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right,
Thank
everyone.
you.
This is the end of the mayor managers meeting. I guess I got to say that, right?
Yes.
Enjoy your afternoon. Take
All
care.
right. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.